The space station known as Port 7 was full of noise, trade, and fast movement. Ships from many worlds came and went. Merchants shouted about their goods. Drones floated through the air, scanning cargo. Among all this life, one figure sat quietly in the shadows. She was a young alien girl. Her skin was pale blue with soft purple marks across her arms. Her ears were small and curved, not like humans, but close enough. Her eyes had no brightness, only sadness. Her name was Zira, though no one ever asked it. People passed by her like she was air. Some stared, others frowned, but none spoke kindly. A few months ago, a trader had brought her in, hoping to sell her skills in translation and repairs. But no one wanted her. She wasn't pure blood enough for the old alien clans, and to many humans, she looked strange. So the trader left her behind and never returned. Zira stayed near the lower market, living on leftover food and water packs dropped by workers. She had no shelter, no friends, and no hope. Every time she tried to speak to someone, they walked away faster. Then came a man named Callan. He was a human. Average height, brown jacket, tools clipped to his belt, and a calm face. He had arrived in his old freighter for some engine parts. While walking through the market, he noticed her sitting behind a crate, her thin arms wrapped around her knees. At first, he kept walking, but something made him stop. He looked back and saw her eyes, empty, yet watching the crowd with silent pain. He turned and walked up to her. "Hey," he said gently. Zira didn't answer. He bent down a little. "You okay?" She looked at him but said nothing. Her lips were dry. Her clothes were torn at the edges. Callan glanced around, then pulled a wrapped food bar from his pocket. "Here. You look like you haven't eaten in days." Zira hesitated. She slowly reached out and took it, watching him with caution. He smiled. "I'm Callan." Still, she didn't speak. "You don't have to talk," he said. "Just eat. That's all." He didn't stay long. He gave her another water bottle and walked away. Zira expected him to vanish like the others, but the next day he returned. This time he sat near her on a metal crate and began fixing a small drone. He didn't force her to talk. He just worked and hummed an old tune. He left some fruit and a packet of warm stew beside her and left again. On the third day, he brought her a small blanket. "Gets cold in this section at night," he said. Finally, Zira spoke. "Why, are you doing this?" Callan looked at her and shrugged. "Because I want to." "No one else does," she whispered. He tilted his head. "Maybe they forgot what kindness is." Zira looked down. "They say I'm useless, that I'm broken." "Well, I don't believe that," Callan replied. "You just need someone who sees you differently." For the first time in weeks, Zira felt a tiny warmth in her chest. That night, after the market closed, Callan asked her to come see his ship. She followed him nervously through the dock until they reached his freighter, the Star Shadow. It wasn't new or shiny, but it was clean and full of tools, wires, and glowing panels. Inside, he showed her the engine room. "This here," he pointed. "Old fusion core. Works, but barely. I fixed it more times than I can count." Zira stepped closer, curiosity rising. "That's a Type B plasma converter." Callan blinked. "Yeah. How'd you know that?" "I used to help repair things before I was left here." Callan handed her a wrench. "Think you still remember how?" She hesitated, then nodded. Together, they fixed a small leak in one of the tubes. For the first time in a long while, Zira felt useful. Later, she sat quietly, in the back of the ship, unsure if she should stay. "Come back tomorrow," Callan said. "I could use your help only if you want." Zira nodded slowly. As he walked her back to the market, she looked up at the stars above the dome ceiling. Something deep inside her shifted. A spark, maybe. She still had no home. Still no future. But someone had noticed her. Someone had said her name. The next morning, Zira woke up early. Her small blanket was wrapped tightly around her thin frame. She hadn't slept this peacefully in a long time. For the first time, She had a reason to get up. She walked through the half-empty marketplace, holding a piece of fruit Callan had given her the day before. Her steps were still unsure, and her eyes still watched every stranger with caution. But her heart felt lighter. When she reached the docking bay, she found Callan already working on his ship, humming as he opened a panel near the back thruster. "You came back," he said, smiling as he looked up at her. Zira nodded slowly. "You said you needed help." "I always need help," Callan chuckled. "This ship keeps falling apart." Zira stepped forward and looked at the toolkit beside him. Without waiting, she picked up a scanner and pointed it at the thruster. "You have a heat imbalance," she said softly. "The intake pipe is half blocked." Callan raised his eyebrows. "You've got good eyes. Most people wouldn't spot that." "I was trained before," she murmured. They worked side by side for over an hour. Zira moved carefully, afraid to do something wrong. But Callan didn't rush her. He explained things gently, and when she got something right, he said, "Nice work." No one had said that to her in years. After finishing the repair, Callan brought out 2 food packs. They sat on the edge of the loading ramp and ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Zira asked quietly, "Why are you being kind to me?" Callan didn't answer right away. He looked at the busy hangar, then at her. "Because it costs nothing to be kind," he said. "And because I think you deserve better than what you've been given. But I'm not like you," she said. "Not like humans." "I've met good people and bad people from every species," Callan said. "It doesn't matter where you're from. What matters is who you are." Zira looked down, unsure of what to say. Her hands trembled slightly as she held her food. "Was told I'm useless, that I shouldn't exist." "Whoever said that was wrong," Callan replied. "I don't care what anyone else thinks. I think you're special." Her eyes widened. She didn't understand it. Why would someone say something so kind to someone like her? She turned away quickly. Her chest hurt in a strange way, like her heart was swelling and aching at the same time. Callan noticed her shoulders shaking. "Hey, are you all right?" he asked gently. Zira wiped her face. "I don't know why I'm crying." "It's okay," he said. "You don't have to hide your feelings. No one's ever said anything like that to me," she whispered. He placed a soft hand on her shoulder. "Then maybe it's time someone did." Zira broke down completely. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She tried to stop, but they kept coming. All the pain she had buried inside for years poured out. Callan didn't speak. He just sat beside her in silence, giving her the space to let it all go. After a while, Zira calmed down. Her voice was hoarse when she finally spoke. "Thank you," she said, "for seeing me." Callan gave her a small nod. "You're welcome." That evening, Zira stayed longer on the ship. Callan showed her how the navigation system worked, how to read travel codes, and how to set routes between planets. She learned fast. Her mind was sharp and she remembered everything clearly. Callan was impressed. "You're better than most of the people I've worked with," he said. Zira smiled a little. It felt strange but nice. When it grew late, she stood near the loading ramp. "Can I come again tomorrow?" she asked. "Of course," Callan said. She walked back toward the market with a full stomach, a blanket in her arms, and something new in her chest. Hope. But as she disappeared into the crowd, a pair of sharp eyes watched her from the shadows. Someone had noticed the girl, and not in a good way. Zira returned to the docking bay every day. Each time she looked a little more alive. Her steps were more confident, her voice grew steadier, and most of all, her eyes began to shine. Callan taught her everything he knew, how to clean power couplings, repair hull plating, and handle cargo codes. Zira learned fast. Her hands, once shaky and slow, now moved with skill and speed. She also asked questions. Hundreds of them. What does this button do? Why does the engine need a cooling system? What happens if the gravity drive fails in space? Callan laughed often. "You're going to know more than me soon." Zira smiled whenever he said that. She liked learning, and she liked being needed. She hadn't felt that way in a long time. One afternoon, as they tightened bolts under the main thruster, Callan looked at her seriously. "I've got a job run," he said. "2 systems over. It's nothing dangerous, just delivery work." Zira paused. "You mean, you're leaving?" He nodded. "For a few days, but I was wondering." He hesitated. "Would you like to come with me?" Zira froze. Go with him? Off the station? Into open space? She had dreamed of it so many times, of flying among the stars, seeing new planets, being free. But she never believed it could happen. "Are you sure?" she asked softly. "I don't want to cause trouble." "You've never caused me trouble," Callan said. "I trust you, and I could use your help." Zira looked down at her hands. She still wore the same worn-out clothes, her fingers stained with old grease. But when she looked up, Callan was still waiting with a kind smile. "I want to go," she whispered. "Then go grab your things," he said. She blinked. "I don't have anything." Callan paused, then nodded gently. "All right, let's go then." As the ship lifted from Port 7, Zira held onto the seat wide-eyed. The stars stretched out in every direction, endless and beautiful. She had never left the station. She had never seen so much space. Callan glanced at her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "It's beautiful." He smiled. "That's what I thought the first time too." Their first stop was a small moon base to deliver spare parts. Zira helped check the cargo, organize the load, and even talk to the station officer, though her voice shook a little. They traveled from one system to the next, each stop showing Zira something new. Strange animals on a farming world, glowing, gas clouds near a mining station, a blue sun rising over an empty desert planet. She started sleeping in a small spare room on the ship. Callan gave her an old pillow and fixed the light above the bed. "You're part of the crew now," he told her. "Even if it's just 2 of us." Zira smiled. "Best crew I've ever known." They laughed together often, shared meals, fixed broken systems. Zira even started calling the ship home, but peace never lasts forever. On their third stop, a fuel station near a damaged asteroid field, Zira stayed inside while Callan talked to the station officer. Through the window, Zira saw a tall alien in dark armor step onto the platform. He looked directly at the ship. Her breath caught in her chest. She knew him. He was a bounty hunter, one of the old war enforcers that tracked survivors of her species. He worked for those who still feared what her kind once were. Zira backed away from the window, her body cold. Moments later, Callan returned. "We're good to go." Zira grabbed his arm. "We need to leave, now." He saw the fear in her eyes. "What is it?" "That man out there," she said. "He's looking for me." Callan didn't ask questions. He trusted her. "Strap in," he said quickly. "We'll lift right now." As the engines roared, the bounty hunter turned toward them, reaching for a scanner, but it was too late. The star shadow lifted into the air and vanished into space. Zira sat frozen in the co-pilot seat, her hands shaking. Callan looked at her. "You okay?" She shook her head. "They want to take me back, nor worse." He frowned. "Because of what species you are?" She nodded. "They think I'm dangerous, like the others before." "Are you?" Zira met his eyes. "No, I just want to live in peace." Callan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then no one's taking you from here. Not while I'm around." Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time they weren't from sadness. They were from something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Safety. The star shadow flew through deep space at high speed. Callan had pushed the engines harder than ever before. The ship groaned under the pressure, but it held together. Inside, Zira sat quietly, her hands gripping the armrests of her seat. Her heart raced. Her thoughts were a mix of fear and confusion. She looked at Callan. "Why did you help me? You could have just left me." Callan glanced at her. "Because you're my friend, Zira. That's all the reason I need." She lowered her head. A small smile touched her lips, even though her eyes were wet. "Thank you," she whispered. But the bounty hunter didn't give up. 2 days later, the ship's warning system beeped. A small vessel was tailing them through a quiet region of space, far from the busy trade lanes. Its signal was masked, but Callan recognized the pattern. "It's him," he muttered. Zira looked at the screen. "How did he find us?" Callan sighed. "Probably tagged the ship at the station. We'll remove the tracker later." Zira's voice shook. "We can't fight him. He's trained. He has weapons. And if I'm captured—" "You won't be," Callan said firmly. "But we need a plan." He brought up the map of nearby systems. "There's a hidden base on an ice moon. It's a place smugglers use. They won't like the bounty hunter poking around." Zira nodded. "Let's go." The journey to the ice moon took 5 hours. During that time, Zira helped check the ship systems, making sure every sensor was clean and ready. She even sealed a small fuel leak without being told. Callan smiled. "Look at you, acting like a full engineer now." Zira gave a small grin. "I had a good teacher." As they approached the moon, large mountains of ice came into view. The base was hidden in a deep crater, with metal doors built into the frozen wall. Callan sent a signal, and after a pause, the doors opened. They landed inside a cold hangar. Steam hissed from vents. Smugglers looked at them with curiosity but said nothing. Callan had been here before. He was trusted. They spoke to the base manager, a four-eyed alien named Bracco. He agreed to help hide the ship for a price. Callan paid from his last job earnings. "I hope this works," Zira said quietly. Callan nodded. "We just need to wait until the hunter gives up." But things didn't go as planned. The bounty hunter tracked their trail to the system. A few hours later, alarms rang across the base. A ship entered orbit, an armed one. Everyone inside the base became alert. No one liked attention, and no one wanted a bounty hunter sniffing around their hidden place. Bracco stormed into the hangar. "Your problem is now our problem, human. Get off my moon." Callan stood firm. "You let me in." "You knew the risks." "I didn't expect you to bring danger," Bracco shouted. Zira stepped forward. "Let me leave. He wants me, not you. I'll go outside and give myself up." "No," Callan said sharply. "You don't deserve that." "I don't want anyone else hurt because of me," Zira said. Callan looked at her, then at the screen showing the hunter's ship above. He took a deep breath. "There's another way." Callan walked into the base's small communication room. He activated the external speaker. "This is Callan, pilot of the Star Shadow," he said. "The girl you're hunting is under my protection. She has done nothing wrong. If you come for her, you'll be met with resistance. Not just from me, but from this entire base." There was silence. Then the bounty hunter responded. His voice was cold and hard. "She is a danger to the galaxy. Her kind caused destruction before. She must be returned." "No," Callan replied. "She's a mechanic, a helper, a kind soul. If you touch her, you'll be making an enemy of every decent being in this system." The hunter didn't respond again, but he didn't leave either. Hours passed. Then something unexpected happened. Several smugglers from the base approached Zira and Callan. One of them, a tall, insect-like alien, spoke. "I heard what you said," he told Callan. "And I've seen the girl. She's not a threat. She helped fix our broken loader. She thanked my son when he gave her soup. That's not the kind of person we fear." Others nodded in agreement. Bracco returned, shaking his head but smiling faintly. "Fine, we'll back you up. But if this goes bad, it's on you." "Understood," Callan said. Together they activated the base's shield. When the bounty hunter tried to land, the smugglers fired warning shots. After a tense standoff, the hunter finally left orbit. He realized the girl was not alone anymore. Later that night, Zira sat beside the engine room, staring at the soft light inside. Callan sat beside her. "You okay?" She nodded. "You spoke for me. You stood up for me." I'll always do that, he said. Zira looked at him. You really think I'm special? He smiled. Yes, I do. Tears filled her eyes again, but this time they were gentle, warm. Then I want to live like someone who is special, she said. I want to prove I can do good. Callan nodded. Then let's do it. Together. The ice moon was quiet after the bounty hunter left orbit. Inside the base, things slowly returned to normal. Workers went back to their jobs. Ships came and went. But something had changed for Zira. She was no longer hiding. She now stood beside Callan, shoulder to shoulder, as someone respected. People looked at her differently, not with fear or pity, but with acceptance. One morning, Bracco invited her to the control room. We have a problem, he said, pointing at a broken relay tower. Our signal's been out for days. Communications are blocked. We can't send or receive data. Zira studied the display. The dish is misaligned and your power lines are frozen. I can fix that. Bracco raised an eyebrow. You sure? I'll need heat tools, a safety rope, and a little time, she said calmly. An hour later, Zira was up on the icy roof of the base with her toolkit. Cold wind whipped across her face, but she focused on the job. Callan stood below, watching, carefully, ready to help if needed. Step by step, she cleared the frozen wires, adjusted the control node, and replaced a burnt-out circuit chip. Her fingers were numb, but she didn't stop. She remembered what Callan had told her. You're part of this world now. You matter. When she finished, she climbed down carefully. Bracco checked the system and smiled. It's working. First time in 4 days, he said. You did it. The other workers nearby clapped lightly. Zira blushed. Her chest felt warm. This was what she always wanted. Later that day, Callan sat with her in the hangar. They shared a warm drink and looked at the ship, now fully repaired. I'll be leaving tomorrow, Callan said softly. Zira's smile faded. Oh, where? Got another delivery job. This one goes across 3 sectors, he explained. Might be gone a couple of months. Zira looked at her hands. So, I stay here? You don't have to, Callan said quickly. You can come with me if you want, or, if you feel safe here, you can stay. It's your choice now. Zira didn't speak for a moment, then she looked around. At the ship she helped fix. At the workers who had accepted her. At the room she now slept in, with a real bed and soft lights. I want to stay, she said. I want to grow here. I want to prove myself. Callan nodded, his eyes gentle. That's a good choice. But will you come back? She asked, her voice soft. Always, he said. You'll never be alone again. She looked down, trying not to cry again. You gave me a chance, she whispered. You gave me my life back. You earned everything, Callan replied. I just noticed who you really are. Before he left the next day, Zira helped load his ship. She checked the fuel levels, ran the engine tests, and even handed him a small bag of supplies she had prepared herself. Emergency snacks, she said with a smile. In case you forget to eat again. Callan laughed. I probably will. As they stood by the ship's ramp, Callan reached into his jacket and pulled out a small round device. It was a personal comm beacon. This links to me, he said. If you ever need anything, help, a ride, or just someone to talk to, press the button. Zira took it with both hands. She held it like a treasure. Thank you, she said. Then she did something she had never done before. Something small but powerful. She hugged him. Callan gently returned the hug. You're going to do great things, Zira. When the ship lifted off, Zira stood on the hangar deck and watched it disappear into the sky. She held the comm beacon close and smiled. She wasn't lost anymore. Weeks passed. Zira became a full member of the base. She worked in the tech section, helping maintain systems and teach younger workers. She even helped design a new energy grid for the lower level, improving power flow for the entire moon. People listened to her now, and they respected her. One night, while looking at the stars from the rooftop, she pressed the comm beacon. Kalen answered with a wide grin on the screen. "How's my favorite engineer?" he asked. "Tired," she said with a small laugh. "I fixed 5 panels, taught a training session, and helped calm a leaking coolant line." He nodded proudly. "That sounds like the Zira I know." She smiled. "I just wanted to say I'm happy, truly happy." "I'm glad," Callan said. Zira looked up at the stars. "I used to think I didn't belong anywhere," she said. "But now I know. I belong somewhere. I belong here." "Wherever you choose to go," Callan replied, "you'll always belong." They ended the call with a laugh, and Zira looked out at the vast sky once more. She wasn't the forgotten girl in the corner of a station anymore. She was Zira, a builder, a friend, a bright light among the stars, and for the first time in her life, she knew she was truly special.